You're very welcome back to Louth County Matters. Now, we came across an amazing project with some of the members of the Drogheda Quilters who made houses to remember some of the civilians that lost their lives in 1916. So Mary, we're here at the Drogheda Quilters meeting to learn about a really special project that you're doing here for the 1916 commemoration. So tell me a bit about it.
We were asked to make, the 1916 Sackville Street Art Project, and we were asked to make houses for the civilians to remember them. There were 262 killed. That had nothing to do with the rising at all, and so we had to make houses for them where we thought that they might like to live. They could be wooden, glass, ceramic, material. So one of the girls got in contact with the quilters and asked would we be interested. A lot of these projects went to the schools around the country, but a lot of the schools sent them back. So we were lucky enough that 8 people here made houses, and it's been really good.
So Catherine, tell us a bit about the house here. Describe it to us.
Right. This is a house made of felt fabric, upholstery fabric, and it represents a house and shop that would have been in Bridge Street in 1916. And the guy who lived in this house was a guy called Edward McGailey. He was 57 years of age, and he was killed during the Rising as a civilian. But the house, the shop I should say, is represented by my grandfather, who was also the same age, at 57, but he was fighting in the forecourts. So we've got one fighting and another one a civilian, and one gets shot in the leg, the other one is killed, the civilian.
I have to say, the house is fantastic, but I love the little bench here.
My husband made that this afternoon. He decided it needed something extra. It looked a bit plain, so we've got a bench outside the shop.
It's the wow factor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, when I heard about the project first, the first thing that came into my mind was a bombed building, and that kind of stuck, you know. So when I looked up a few things, I just decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then I got the lady's name, for the project I was to do, and she came from Chancery Street in Dublin. She was 62 years of age. She was a spinster, and she was a fishmonger. So I just decided, okay, I'll do the bombed building, and then I will make some sort of a cart and put little fishes on it.
It's lovely though that you can, do this tribute for her now, though.
Yes, it is. It is that at least these people are being remembered. Because a lot of them got caught up in this situation and didn't realise what they were getting caught up in.
My lady was Julia Myrna, and she was a widow lady with no children, and she lived in Richmond Street. And my idea was that she would love to live in a cottage. And so that's where my cottage came out of, from my idea for her, because I think everybody would like to live in a cottage. I'd love to live in a cottage. The most important thing to me is the reason why the Sackville project was thought about was because the 262 civilians were never remembered. So this group got all their names together, and they asked people to take a name to build a house for their soul to go back into. So for me, it's the butterfly is her soul going back into this house.
That's lovely.
So, and unfortunately, she's buried in a communal grave in St. Paul's across from Glasnevin Cemetery. And I hope to go there someday to put flowers on it, even though it won't be her grave as such, it's everybody's grave. but it's sad that she doesn't have a headstone, or that any of them don't have a headstone.
The man that I was given, his name was William Maguire. He was 37 and he was shot in Talbot Street in Dublin, and he was married to a girl named Mary. I think he might have had 4 children, I'm not sure of that, and he was buried in Glasnevin.
And so would he have lived somewhere like this or in a house like this?
He lived in 92 Marlborough Street, and that's what the houses looked like in Marlborough Street in that time.
Patricia, this is a fabulous little cottage. I love the colours in it. Tell me about the inspiration behind this house.
Well, the shape of the house is like my grandfather's house in Wexford, who was involved in 1916 originally. And the front of the house is to depict everyone's dream, like my parents' dream of a cottage, a lovely, sweet, calm kind of cottage in Ireland, like roses around the door image, right? The sides are where my body, if I was to be for somewhere to be laid to rest, I would like a garden or a woodland scene. They're both my passions, right? Gardening in particular. And the back is to depict this man, Malachy Brennan, was a van driver and he had 5 sons. And I was thinking, well, maybe he did dream of someday his sons would have more cars or more vans. So I put a truck and a car in the back window.
My granda was involved and my granduncles, and my granduncle was very involved in the Battle of Ashbourne, and he was wounded, but he did recover all right. And my granda trained some of the men for to get ready for the fighting and all that kind of thing. Yeah.